Got Hazel saying, evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing okay. And Colin, good evening, all. Mm. Penny, hello, everyone from London. And Cynthia, always look forward to Tuesday. Cynthia with the eclipse behind her again. Amazing. And Valerie, good evening, everyone. Sending love from Brussels and feeling very grateful to be here. And Hazel, good evening, everyone. I look forward to this every week. And Bridget, hi from sunny Suffolk. Birds twittering in the background. Beautiful tonight. Myri, hello from Aberdeen, and Janice, hello from a very sunny Hove. Looking forward to this. And Mark, first time here, much love to everyone. So special welcome to you, Mark. Wonderful that you can join us. So we're just 1 minute past the hour. Just wait another couple of minutes. So just to welcome you all, very, very warm welcome, everybody. And yeah, I'm looking forward to practicing with you all again. And if there's anyone here for the first time, other than Mark, just to say that you don't have to do anything other than settle back and follow the instructions as best you can. So you don't have to remember anything because I'll be leading the practice. And as all of us will know, well, particularly those of you who come here regularly, it's quite normal for the mind to wander. It's what our minds do. They chase after interesting thoughts. And so the practice that we do is when we notice the mind has wandered, we remind ourselves of what we're doing, which is a meditation practice about being present, and we simply come back to the practice as best we can. I say simply, sometimes it's not a very simple thing to do, but it can, the intention is quite simple. It's simply coming back to the body, coming back to the moment. And I'll be leading it as quite a deep body awareness this evening. And one of the helpful things about the way we're wired up as humans is we can't be in the body and feeling sensation and lost at exactly the same time. If we're lost in thought, then we probably will have lost touch with our direct experience in the body. And if we're in the body, aware of sensation, then by definition, we're present. And the only sensation we can feel is the one that's happening right now, which means by definition, we're in the present. So we're learning to move from being a little bit removed from our experience to just coming directly in contact with what's happening right now. And then we realize that this experience that can sometimes feel very solid, very stuck, very rigid, is in fact changing all the time. It's much more fluid than we realize. So we're learning to soften and let go of some of the rigidifying that we do around experience. Very often we're not quite in touch with ourselves. We contract around experience. We get a bit stuck. We start thinking, we start feeling, we get more and more sort of abstracted from what's actually happening. And a lot of the thoughts and the emotions that pile on, they're not necessarily positive ones. So if we can just strip that out moment by moment and come back to the simple experience of being present and resting in the flow of things, then that is it's a much more sort of immediate way to live, and it's a more pleasant way to live. Even if it's a bit ironic because for many of us who are here, many people who come to breathworks have got physical pain of one sort or another. So you might think, oh, I really don't want to be with my body and my direct experience, which is very understandable. But as soon as we've got the not wanting mind, that's also contracted, gets a bit tight. Then we start getting a bit separated from what's actually happening. We have a view that maybe our pain is really, really awful and it's really solid. But if we have the instruction and we gently come closer to our experience, we realize that even this experience we think of as pain isn't a thing. It's not a solid thing, it's a flow of sensations. And we learn to come into relationship with that in a softer and kinder way. So, let's begin. Let's begin the practice. Let me just close the chat box. Change my view. Very good. Okay. So I've got a one of my favorite little readings from Lao Tzu that I'm going to read at the beginning, and it's about the strength of being soft. The strength of being soft. I think for many of us, we think strength is a kind of, tight-braced, I will overcome. Um, but there's this really wonderful reading from Lao Tzu about how water is stronger than rock. It's quite wonderful. So if we can bring this more sort of fluid, um, courageous quality to coming into relationship with our experience, perhaps that is the greatest strength. And then I'll lead us into a body awareness. So as we begin to settle, I'll read out this reading. And the heading is, "What is soft is strong." Water is fluid, soft, and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft, and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. What is soft is strong. I'll read that again. Water is fluid, soft, and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft, and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. What is soft is strong. So let's take that wonderful invitation into this practice together. So the first thing to do is to settle into the position that we've chosen. Whether we're sitting, whether we're lying, or you might even be standing. It's completely up to you. And let's see if we can allow the weight of the body to rest into the points of contact with the surface beneath us. And with this quality of yielding, so yielding the weight of the body up to the chair, the bed, the floor, the planet. And as soon as we do this, already we might have a little bit less rigidity, a little bit more ease and softness. And it's very interesting to see if we can yield into the support beneath us rather than perching on top of it. It's a subtle difference, but it can make a difference. Perching has a quality of rigidity. Yielding has a quality of release. And if we want to, we could take a few deeper in-breaths, and on each out-breath, release, arrive, settle, yield a little bit more. Letting go of what's just been happening, letting go of what's happening next, and seeing if we can arrive a little bit more fully into the body, into the present. And then when we're ready, letting go of effort around the breathing and allow the breathing to find its own natural rhythm. Deepen the body. Closing the eyes if that's comfortable, or else lowering the gaze. Let's have a broad and general sense of the whole body to start with. If there are any areas that feel particularly rigid or tight, We could perhaps allow our awareness to very gently rest there. Perhaps breathing a little bit into that area and bringing an intention of yielding into that area, softening into that area. Always being careful not to force or strain. But you'll probably find where we've got brittleness, tension, tightness, hardness in the body, that in that area there's a little bit of pulling away from the gentle pull of gravity. Just allowing that part of the body to settle back into the gentle support of gravity as we rest down into the chair or the bed and the floor. And broadening to be aware of the sense of the whole body resting here. Being aware of our emotional weather. How are we feeling right now? There's no need to judge. We're simply being curious. What's our mood? Happy, sad, confused, whatever it is, allowing it into awareness. Noticing how it's changing all the time. Maybe even having a sense of breathing around the heart area in the body. This quality of yielding, softness, presence. What thoughts are flowing through the mind? Meditation isn't about suppressing thought, but seeing if we can just have a little bit more perspective around our thoughts, like clouds passing across the blue sky of awareness. They come and they go, they come and they go. And broadening to be aware of the whole body, our emotions and our thoughts flowing through the moments. Let's take it deeper. I'm going to guide us more deeply into the body with this intention, if you like, of noticing when we're rigid and noticing what it's like to release, soften, and yield. And seeing if we can get a little bit of a sense of how to be soft is to be strong. So first of all, let's allow our awareness to pour through the body, the torso, the hips, down the legs, and come to rest in the feet. The feet will be becoming known to us through sensation. Might be a quality of tingling, buzzing, warmth, coolness, unpleasant sensations, pleasant sensations. Seeing if we can rest right inside rather than thinking about them in the abstract. Feeling the contact between the feet and the floor or the bed. Seeing if we can let the feet rest into the support beneath them. And noticing the way the sensations are continually changing. They're much more like water than a rock. These feet that seem to be so solid. Even there's this quality of flow, everything changing, and resting right inside that experience in the feet. And allowing our awareness now to flow up into the legs. The ankles and the lower legs, the knees and the thighs. Seeing if we can rest right inside. What sensations are presenting themselves to awareness? They might be unpleasant, pleasant. If they're unpleasant, noticing if there's a tendency to contract against them, to rigidify. In the noticing, seeing if we can just let go a little bit. Resting back into flow, noticing the way the sensations are continually changing. And if they're pleasant, noticing any tendency to chase after them, to cling. And again, in the noticing, releasing back into flow. Always breathing, always resting. And let's come into the hips now, where the legs join the torso. Is sitting, there'll be weight dropping down through the hips, lying down. There'll be a sense of the legs falling away from the hips. What sensations are present inside the hips? Can you allow them to flow through the moments, to flow through awareness? Softening tendencies to contract against the unpleasant, to hold on to the pleasant. And then there's the buttocks. If we're sitting or lying, can we let the weight drop through the buttocks, resting into the bed or the chair rather than perching on top? And let's come up to the belly, the soft front of the body between the pelvis at the bottom and the base of the ribs at the top. Can we allow the belly to soften into space a little bit on the in-breath, subside on the out-breath? So maybe a sense of the belly swelling a bit on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath, but being careful not to force or strain. It's more that when we soften gripping, soften rigidity, the natural breath can begin to express itself with a little bit more freedom, perhaps, in the belly. Don't worry if this isn't the case for you. The main thing is to be aware. Coming to the chest, ribs, lungs, heart, collarbones, breasts, resting right inside. Be sensations of breathing, other sensations present. So really training in the skill of not automatically contracting against the unpleasant or automatically chasing after the pleasant, but learning to rest right inside flow, resting in the present, receiving it fully and letting it go, receiving it fully and letting it go. Now let's allow our awareness to pour into the back of the body. Coming back to the buttocks first of all, just being curious, is tension building up? Or are we still yielding? And then flowing up into the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, the whole back of the body being breathed. Maybe feeling movements and sensations of breathing in the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, being curious. There'll be other sensations present, most probably for most of us. Maybe unpleasant, maybe pleasant. Softening contraction, softening gripping, releasing into flow. Being aware of the whole torso altogether, the front, the back, the side. Maybe a sense of the whole torso opening a little bit in all directions on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath. 360-degree breathing. Opening, releasing, receiving, letting go. Always yielding into gravity. And allowing awareness to pour through the shoulders, down the arms, all the way to the fingers and the thumbs. Letting the hands be fully supported in whatever way is comfortable for you right now. Feeling all the different sensations in these shoulders, arms, hands, fingers, thumbs. And the fingers in particular, being curious about reaching for the future, holding on to the past, and seeing if we can let the fingers rest in the present, which will help the mind rest in the present. And now let's flow into the neck and the head to complete this journey through the body. We're sitting, letting the head be poised on top of the spine. If we're lying down, letting the head be heavy. Being aware of the jaw, tongue, lips, cheeks, eyes, scalp. Let's see if we can get a sense of the head being a limb of the body rather than somehow separate to the body. Feeling into the physicality of the head, the sensations, temperature, contact of the eyelids touching if the eyes are closed, lips touching if the mouth's closed, tongue in the mouth. Maybe the air on the cheeks. And now for the last few moments, let's broaden to be aware of the whole body. As this fluid, soft, yet immensely strong experience. Likewise, our emotions, soft yet strong. Thoughts coming and going. As we rest right inside. Water is soft, fluid, and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft, and yielding will overcome whatever is rigid and hard. What is soft is strong. Now, as we begin to bring the practice to a close, let's bring a tiny bit of movement into the body and see if we can have this watery quality as we begin to move. Very often what we do is immediately brace, grip, force. What's it like to stay soft in the body, have these fluid movements, and then gradually letting the movements become bigger, however you want to. But perhaps forming an intention to take this quality of awareness with us into whatever's coming next. Ah, wonderful. Thank you. Good. So, thank you so much for coming and practicing with me and everyone else, this wonderful community. And for those of you who are here for the first time, I always stay on for a little bit at the end. And if people want to, they write in the chat box what they noticed in the practice. And I always read it out because we sometimes have people who find it difficult to engage with reading the chat box for one reason or another. But I'm going to have to go in 10 minutes today. So I'm going to stay for 10 minutes and then I'm going to go and have my dinner. Good. But yeah, I feel much better for that myself, I must say. So let's just open this chat box. Good. So Richard's saying, thanks, Vidyamala, that settled me. That's nice. Settled. And Jody, fluid and strong. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, and then Valerie saying, a beautiful sun is surrounding me. Yes. I've got this amazing light coming into my room. It's very beautiful. And Lean, thank you. I had a stressful day and this was very grounding. Chiaki, it was so lovely and soothing. Thank you very much. Exactly what I needed. And Jane, thank you. That was amazing. I was very relaxed. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That um, I remember going to a pain clinic absolutely years and years ago, and I think it was a psychologist who said relaxation is the natural state when we stop creating tension. Relaxation is the natural state when we stop creating tension, which I found quite life-changing when I heard that. I thought, wow, that's true, isn't it? Because very often we think we have to do something to relax, but it's more we just need to sort of get out of our own way and stop generating all this tension. Yeah. And Bridget, live in a hard water area. Maybe why I find it hard to soften the sore parts of the body. It's interesting. Yeah. Thank you. Helpful as ever. And Lizzie, thank you, Vidyamala. Each time I do a meditation, I feel relaxed, more peaceful, and happier. Mm. And as I often say, at the end of these sessions, and I think this is worthy of reflection, that all we've done is sit here quietly and be intentional around our awareness. That's all we've done. And it can have such a profound effect. And I think that's very encouraging, isn't it? We haven't had to go and run around the block or do anything dramatic like that. Just sat here, closed our eyes, and harnessed the power of awareness. Amazing. So that's great to hear, Lizzie. Alison, magic. And Jenny, thank you. What a lovely meditation today. Lots of other thanks. Penny, I really needed the calm tonight. And Martha, it was very relaxing. The poem was beautiful. Yes, I must say I really, really love that reading from Lao Tzu. And Janet, thank you so much. It feels very difficult to let go of gripping, but I love the idea of fluidity being strong. Yes, that's a really interesting point. It's very difficult to let go of gripping. It is very difficult. And of course, one of the pitfalls is we try so hard to let go of gripping that we just grip more. So maybe that goes back to what I said just a minute ago, that relaxation is a natural state when we stop creating tension. So it's very easy to get into kind of trying to force release, which of course just leads to more tension. So that'll be an interesting thing for you to play with, Janet. Yeah, and you said, but you love the idea of fluidity being strong. And Karen, beautiful reading, made me cry. Lovely to pay attention and let the rigid parts soften. Thank you to Vidyamala, Mark, and everyone. Yes, Mark. Mark, where are you? Thank you so much to you. It's always good to give you a call out. Mark's here week after week after week doing our tech. And he's the one with the lovely hearts going up his screen. Cynthia, appreciating the fluid allowed me to feel balanced and centered. The quote is so profound. Thank you, Vidyamala and Mark. And Penny, thank you. My blood pressure is high, trying to soften my arteries. Yes, very good. That's a lovely thing to try and do. And you know, who knows? Who knows what effect it might have? And Mark, the presence and just being is hard to find without the guidance. So thank you for that. Yes, I mean, I've been meditating for decades and I still find it much easier to meditate with other people. You know, sometimes there's a sense of community and sometimes guidance is really helpful. So Karen, thank you for Jamala and Mark. A much needed grounding, calming pause away from the intense irritation and frustration felt in my body, mind, and life currently, in appreciation and gratitude. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling all those things, Karen, but I'm so happy that this has given you a little pause. You've given yourself the little pause. And Jody, Mark, thank you for your amazing tech support. I can see you smiling. That's good. And Hazel, that was such a beautiful meditation. Thank you. I really went deeply into my body and thought about that fluid water, soft and flowing. And Miriam, I obviously needed this today and responded well by being in a deep state of relaxation for the most part, with breathing soft and steady and a feeling of spaciousness, a dreamlike state. When thoughts appeared, the breathing quickened, which is good to notice. That's a really wonderful subtlety of awareness there. And John, thank you. Wonderfully reviving. See, that's also very interesting, isn't it? We sit there, you know, just really softening, um, letting go of these grippy habits, and that in itself is reviving. Yeah. I must say, I feel revived by it as well. I was in a lot of pain just before, and now I'm feeling much better. So, Kathy, thank you. As I arrived late, apologies, that's absolutely fine. When I released my tongue muscles, the jaw opened, grateful. Angie, blissful. And then various other thank yous. And then Jackie, yielding has an element of trust, doesn't it? Yes, definitely. Definitely. And that's also an interesting thing to reflect on. Mm. I mean, I noticed because the first 30 years of my life were in New Zealand. And in fact, the first 18 years of my life were in Wellington, which gets a lot of earthquakes. And it wasn't really till I came to the UK that I learned how to trust the earth beneath my feet, which has had a very big effect on my experience, actually. Yeah. Kathy's saying it wasn't the tongue muscles, it was the stomach muscle. So that's also very interesting. Softening the stomach muscle helps the jaw to relax. Yeah. Um, and then someone said, Hazel, what was the saying by the psychologist again? The psychologist said, relaxation is a natural state when we stop creating tension. Relaxation is a natural state when we stop creating tension. And then Carla, I don't think I will ever cease to be amazed at how connecting with my tiredness, my physical difficulties, and difficult feelings, and consciously letting go of resistance can bring such relief and ease. Yeah, that's wonderful that you've noticed that, Carla. And it is amazing because it's so utterly counterintuitive, isn't it? If someone said, oh, what you need to do is, you know, allow your tiredness, your physical difficulties, difficult feelings into awareness, and that's the way to bring about relief and ease, that would seem quite crazy. But when we understand that when we're not letting those things in, then we've got this quality of resistance, which is gripping, breath holding, tension, and so on, and that just leads to more difficulty. Then it becomes more understandable. So I thank you so much for naming that, Carla. Good. Okay, it's time for my dinner. So we'll leave it there. We've run out of anything in the chat box. So thank you all so much, everybody, and very much look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you so much, Mark, as always. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good week.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye. Thank
Vidyamala.
you,
Bye,
Vidyamala.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Mum.
Bye.
Thank
Enjoy your
you.
dinner.
Thank you.
Bye.